The other day I made a video where I showcased a system to run a full-sized party in a solo tabletop RPG. This system introduces the idea of using supply dice as a way to represent each character's stamina or durability. So now I want to showcase that in a sort of simple battle, a simple scenario where we have a fighter, a high-level wizard, which I have leveled up and given her a d6 instead of a d4, and a halfling rogue who will be our main PC. A few pointers before we begin with the demonstration. Number one, I am using the system Old School Essentials, or OSE, by Necrotic Gnome. And again, I've leveled up the spellcaster character just so that they aren't as squishy or easy to kill. But you will see how the system handles dice degrading as time goes on and as the conflict progresses. And their opposition is a party of goblins, represented here by these minis. So we're gonna set them up on the board, and then we'll go through the combat. Okay, so in this scenario, both parties roll initiative. The orange die is our party, and the black die is the goblins. The goblins managed to go first. Now, the first goblin here, who's attacking the spellcaster, triggers a saving throw for this spellcaster. And when she checks, she rolls a 4 on the 6-sided dice. This means that the next time the spellcaster needs to perform a check to roll for basically saving against damage, the die now degrades on a 2 out of 6, or it has 2 out of 6 chances of dropping to a d4. But for now, she does fine. Next up, this goblin here attacks our fighter, triggering their saving throw using a d8, and the fighter rolls a 2. Since it's the first time they are hit, the die doesn't degrade. It only degrades on a 1 in 8 chances. But next time, if this die lands on 1 or a 2, then it drops to a d6, and then this chain resets. But for now, the fighter also manages to hold their ground. They are wounded, but not out of the count yet. For our main PC, we just follow combat normally, and the goblin misses the goblin. Combat would resume normally with the characters rolling a d20, since we know that the armor class of goblins in Old School Essentials is 13. They would just normally roll, and adding their 2 hit bonuses if applicable. The important part only comes when the goblins are attacking them. Next round, the goblins also manage to get the drop on the party. So, again, the party triggers their saving throws. Now, our fighter does their check, and this time their die lands on a 2. Since they are at a 2 out of 8 chances of dropping, this die now becomes a d6. So this blow was heavier than last time. In the case of our spellcaster, the spellcaster does better, rolling a 4. Since the chances of dropping were 2 in 6 and she rolled a 4, she is still okay. But now, the risk of this die dropping goes up to 3 in 6 chances. So it's a 50% chance that by next blow, this die will degrade to a d4. And that is a much more precarious situation to be. By the next round, our fighter, who is now at a d6, rolls their saving throw, and the die luckily lands on a 6. This means the fighter manages to block off or wave off the damage completely, and the die stays at a d6. It doesn't downgrade because we roll the maximum value for it. Next up, the goblin attacks the spellcaster, who is at a 3 in 6 chances of dropping her supply die, but she manages to roll a 5. This means that miraculously, though wounded, she is still holding on. As you can see, this system keeps your NPCs useful and fights engaging without needing to count individual HP for them. Again, this system keeps fights moving along for a solo player, and it just makes it much easier to handle. You can also express this in a very simple formula, which I'll be sure to write down in this wet erase board in a moment. So we are essentially dealing with an X in D chances for the die to drop, where X is the hit chances and the D is the die's size. So as we were going along our example, the more hits a party member would take, the bigger the chances of the die dropping based on the die size we were handling. And once a die dropped to its nearest lower die, or its nearest lower value, this chain would reset. So there you have it. A simple demonstration of the system we showed previously. I hope this has been helpful, and if you want to see more content like this, be sure to follow.